Start. Okay. So, hello guys. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Career Advice. So, how are you all? And how are you learning from our channel? Please post us in our comment section, or you can drop us to our emails. So, before we start, I just want to clarify. There are a couple of queries that we've received in our inbox that you guys are facing a little bit of issues in practicing, and you're not getting the servers. So please do let me know and you can drop me on our email, and I can suggest you some good server providers where you can practice all the teachings that we are providing in our channel. So today we are going to discuss about uh, enterprise structure, and we will associate it with a chart of accounts. And I hope you have gone through all the blocks and you have practiced about it. And so today we'll talk about that, and also a new topic. It is called number range and clearing docs, along with some theoretical part like a structure of partial payments, statistical documents, and how to do payment for statistical items, etc. in our first video. So in our second video, we will see how you can create number ranges, intervals, and how you will associate with a more of practical thing in our second video. So as usual, if you guys have any comments, any doubts, any queries, so please do reach out. And yeah, let's not waste time, man. Let's start.
So as I mentioned, if you have any help documents, you can go there and you can get all these definitions and details. Okay, so once we did the main and sub transaction configuration, so next target is to maintain them. So maintain main transaction, you can see here, you can go there. Yeah, now maintain the transaction in ISU. This is the most important part, but it will go with time because the whole concept of our operations, like started from the interest calculation, budget billing, payment account, returns, installments, write-off, loan billing, collective billing, all this stuff is there. How to maintain your transactions, main and sub transactions, right? So the basic, whatever we understood from our open item classes, that from the open item class, we can understand initially there is a simple, there is a debit and there is a credit. Okay, so there is something you need to get. Okay, so the open items and somebody need to pay. And if that is done, it will directly come to the main transaction, right? So similarly, there is a security deposit, and the top of the security deposit, we need to apply the interest. So that is also one of the transaction we need to maintain. Down payments. Down payment means somebody will pay some huge amount of money. That down payment need to be posted to a GL. Interest calculation, if the amount will be payable for more than 1 year, we need to apply the interest key. So that is interest calculation. Budget billing, we discussed many times. Budget billing is a planned payment structure by which the customer need to pay to the utility company. Budget billing. Similarly, for budget billing, we need to maintain both main transaction and sub transaction. So in our rate, I may show you the main sub transaction for the general calculation, but we can see in the rate also we have a budget billing main and sub transaction. Okay, let me show you again. So what we saw at the rate level, that we have so we have debit and credit for the sub transactions for the general posting. Similarly, we have a debit and credit sub transaction for the budget billing, right? So for budget billing also, we need to define the debit and credit sub transactions in our configuration. So that is also there under the maintenance of the SAP ISU transactions. And once budget billing is done, then we have to go for the returns, installment, write-offs, loans, billing, collective billing. So everything is like, as I mentioned, we can allocate a single GL, everything will be get posted into that, or we need to allocate different GLs for the posting. So let's start with the general chart posting, which is a direct one. So where the direct posting need to be allocated. Okay. So when you need to do this, you need to first clear what exact amount you are looking for. What is your company code? What are the, like all these parameters or attributes, you need to be very clear what you need to configure. Once you are very clear, then you can go to the new entries and there you can post. Okay. So here already the posting is happened. So when we'll go for the new entry, it will ask for the company code, the division, the short description, main transaction, sub transaction, which we already know how to create, whether it would be a debit or a credit, and then we'll proceed. Now, whatever the sub transaction you are putting here, based on that, you need to put the debit or credit. Like if you put here 001, so that's considered as a debit, then 101 would be credit. And that need to link to a main transaction, and that would be like the hierarchy like that. Now, here there are two major stuff which coming here. One is statistical key. Now, what is statistical posting? The statistical posting is just a numeric posting. There is no actual posting happen. So statistical posting key, if you maintain here, so for you can allocate some number ranges or some values for statistical posting. Like mostly when we do a simulation of invoicing, simulation of billing, in that case, we need the statistical posting. Okay, so for that, you can apply some statistical key that will allocate only for the statistical posting. So now you can see the statistical posting you can use for different perspective or different operations. So if you put any of this statistical key, then it will understand. So this particular GL is only for the statistical posting for these type of operations. Let's consider A, the down payment request, which is very commonly used. So in that case, your GL will be only holds the numeric values. It will not do any numeric actual posting. So that's one of the stuff here when we are creating. Then the next part is clearing and invoicing control. Now this clearing and invoicing control requires two major stuff. One is your VAT, which would be your taxation. Now, if you need to allocate some tax, now we need to discuss all this as well in our next classes, where we create the VAT. Now, once the key is created, tax code is created, you just need to allocate the tax code here, and that will automatically pick the tax, let it be 2% or 5%, and post it into the GL. Okay. And finally, the major stuff which is done by the finance team, dunning. Now, for posting all this detail, we need to create a dunning procedure. We are not yet discussed about how to create a dunning procedure. So once you create a dunning procedure, you can allocate that dunning procedure to your GL, and based on the date, I show you that date. So in the date base, you can apply the dunning, and whether you need to apply the dunning or interest, you can allocate both the stuff. For interest, similarly, tax code, we have interest key. We can create a interest key and allocate here. And if you don't want apply to dunning, you can stop the dunning by putting the dunning lock, and you can means the dunning will not applicable for that site. And if somebody's payment is stopped by court, or we need not to consider that payment, then we need to payment lock region we need to put here. Okay. So what I'm planning that after 12 classes, we'll go with a scenario. In that scenario, we'll create end-to-end structure kind of implementation of a project, and in that we'll create everything. We'll create dunning procedure, dunning logs, interest keys, everything, and we'll maintain that at this. Now at this step, if you want, I can create the details, right? The company code will be ORT1. Again, that is not linked to any division. So I'll go with the existing company code. So during our scenario creation, we'll create everything and we'll implement that as well to check our invoicing is posting there or not. Okay. Let's go back. Just so that is direct posting. Now there is another stuff like security deposit interest key for each of them. Like as I mentioned, we need to create the ledgers and allocate them. Okay, sub ledger to sub transaction main ledgers, and we'll link that. So mostly what we prepare, most of the times the sub ledgers are different. For them, the main ledger would be different. So if anybody has any scenario or case study which we can implement, you can bring to me. So we'll discuss and create a solution for them from the financial perspective. And mostly it is all Excel work. Once you completed all your Excel stuff, what are the main transactions, sub transaction keys, then we just need to bring all those details here and put here into the fields, that much. So this is the maintenance of the GLs for different operations. Okay. Okay. Now all these operations we'll discuss again as we discuss in open item. Yes. All these operations during our future sessions, and at the end, when we'll go for the scenario, we'll again come back to maintain the transactions into ISU. Okay, so let's go further. Okay, so this is the maintain of main and sub transaction. Okay, control cost center and control area. Okay, so now cost center and control area, when we saw at the EK02, so here you can see accounts assigned to the any of the control area or tax determination business area. Mostly these are optional to determine a GL, but if you allocated any of this, that means with this business area, this GL is linked. So what it means, that means that particular business area is linked to a particular GL, and that GL is linked to all these input parameters. Okay, so I'm just showing that how we can create a business area. It's very simple. We have the path, direct path, enterprise structure, definition, financial accounting, and business area. So let's go and check. Enterprise structure is a bit different again. Let me just PRO. So close everything. At the top, there is the enterprise area. Enterprise structure. Correct infrastructure. Definition, finance accounting. Okay, now Ajay, initially we discussed that when we creating the company code, we are first defining the name under FI. Similarly, for the business area, we need to define the business area under the same. So just new entry, any of the business area like O001 or a test business area. And save this. And when you are going to EK02, we can allocate that. Okay, so this is your business area. Simple. All right, so this is how we are creating all the parameters, but we're not defined all this in a clarity manner because we have to give a lot of time to allocate each individual GLs and then allocate to them to any of the stuff. But if you come to EK01 and EK02 where you are allocating this, in these steps also you can change the chart of account. Okay, and you can go to your own chart of account and you can reallocate whatever the new data you are creating. Okay, so change the chart of account or create the chart of account, you can do that. Right, once you completed the chart of account, you go for, like here it's saying to create. Now you need to put all these details here. So company, division, account, determination, main and sub transaction. And once you completed that, you can simulate whether everything is balanced out or not. Okay, so if everything is okay, then you can save that. Okay, so as I mentioned, the keys are here and the functions, whatever functions you are looking for, like posting is a function. So for that, we need a GL account. Controlling your account is a function. So we need a control account assignment. Tax determination, business area. So whatever the functions, we need to allocate to the keys, and that will link to your contract account. Okay. So let's go to the next phase. Now here we are completed the chart of account. How to create a chart of account, what are the parameters, and okay. So on the day when we created the invoices, right? That day we discussed that the invoices linked to the FI CA through the posting document. Like if we go to a FPL9 and check any of the contract account, I don't know, anything will come. Okay, so let's go to any of the ES32 or something. That means basically whatever we did, that is the background, that is how we are holding the data. But the real role is linked to the documents, the number ranges, which is allocated to the document, and that documents linked to the invoice, which is holding the open items. So that's how we are linking the invoices, right? That means any document is here, yes. So this is a billing document, not a invoicing document. So let me go to the invoicing table to get the invoicing document, and we can check the invoicing document linked to a posting document, and that posting document is actually the front end for us to any of these operations and postings. So the key code for the invoicing table correct here, DK is the table which holds the invoicing document, and I'm picking one of the invoicing document. This one we picked last time. So Control Y, Control C to check the values. You can go with the EA40, the T4 to display the invoicing document. Okay, so my point here is that all these stuff till the invoicing document, it is under billing and invoicing. Now, when it is coming to the posting document, this posting document is actually linked to our contract account, and that contract account linked to our, here you can see the transactions, main transaction, sub transaction, and that linked to your company code and your division. So that means all the five things, parameters which we need to post the amount that is linked to the posting document. Okay, so here you can see ELM1 is our main transaction, 0010 is sub transaction, company code ENST, division EL. All four parameters are there. And one more is account determination ID. Now, account determination ID we get from this contract account. And contract determination ID will get from the contract. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all parameters are there. So the posting will be happen. Okay. Then we have a document type FA, finance. So from document type, we understand this a FA invoicing document, and from there we can understand it need to be posted into a GL. And whatever we created, we just created to link the posting document to the GL posting. Now, I hope your clear end-to-end process is clear. So the next target is to allocating the documents, the number ranges and the documents. Clearing document. Okay. The document mostly linked to the document category and the number ranges. After document category number ranges, it needs a document layout, how the document need to be linked. Okay. Then booking of the document, which I show you, it is how it's linked, and clearing of the document. Clearing of the document means closing of the open items. Now, closing of the open items need a lot of operations because there are a lot of permutation and combination linked to the open items. Whether somebody paid very well, yeah, it's directly posting. If not, what are the permutation combination we can do? So those are the operations. So till now, we created the container where we can put all these numbers. And now that container needs some document numbers, and that document need to be defined with types, and that's all depending on the business scenarios. Okay, so these documents are usually created automatically in the sub-ledger accounting for ISU transactions. So when we create the invoice, automatically this document created. Now this document is automatically created. Then how we know this is a posting document? We need to define that document. Now defining that document, we need to allocate two stuff: document type and the description. So from the document type and description, we know which type of this document, and with that we link the number ranges. Here you can see the number ranges. R1 receivable with 01, it started with 10 zeros and 10 nines. Now the number ranges again of two types: external number ranges and internal number ranges. whatever we configure into the system, okay, and automatically that number get generated during the invoicing and posted. So that's the internal number range. But let it be there is some agreement that some switch document or some IDOC process will happen and the posting will happen from external system to your internal system. Now you don't know what would be the document number will come, but you know the number range, right? So in that case, we can allocate the number range to external number range. In that case, the document will be random in nature. Okay, so that is external number range. It will be kind of open, whereas the internal number range is very sequencing in nature. Okay, there is a major question in the interviews: is number range transportable? Can't create transport for number ranges, and we can't move them to the production. That means it's a manual configuration. Okay, but these days what people do, they create client copies. What is client copy? I'll explain. Maybe it's a basic stuff. So whatever they created into the quality system, they create a golden client and they just copy that to the production. So that is called client copy. So most of the greenfield implementation, they do that. So during the client copy, we don't need number ranges to be configured manually because it will take everything from the client X to client Y. But in general, if we move the standard procedure, we'll move the TR. So for number regions, we can't create any TR and we need to configure that manually. And the number ranges should not be overlapping. So that's how what we do. We'll first create, like as I mentioned previously, it's Excel work. We create an Excel sheet, we put all these details and we understand, okay, these are not overlapping, and then we'll go for the configuration. Okay. Now, the major stuff for structured account receivable or payable document is the major four stuff when we create the invoice, like reconciliation key, currency. Now currencies, as I mentioned, it's depend country to country. So most of the time it's okay, but if there is a convergence control means if somebody is paying in some different currency, in that case, that may be a question for our CS team, how they handle that. But otherwise, the currency would be there. Date of posting date we get from the invoicing, and the document number. The document number, the document number is the posting document number. So we majorly need these four stuff: reconciliation, document number, currency, and posting date. Once we get this, we link that to the what is the master data? Like master data is our business partner and contract account. So now from business partner contract account, we get the partner number or the customer, the company code. Now, because the company code is defining the GL, so we are picking the company code, the due date, because the due date is linked to our dunning procedure at the sub-ledger, so that we need a due date. Transaction, definitely sub-transaction, the company code, sub-transaction, division, all the stuff is done, and amount to post. Okay, so once amount to post, it will go to the general ledger which we created just. So that general ledger, it will link and the posting will be happen. So if there is an invoice 200 USD here, so that 200 USD will be item 001 for the document, or this is your posting document number. You can see the posting document number is here. So it is automatically created posting document kind of stuff, which is unique in nature, and that link to your general ledger posting, and with that it will put in 200. So when we open FPL 9, so you can see a different number, which is your posting document number, linked to the document number, and that will be linked to your amount. Okay, that's how the ledger get posted. Any questions? I hope all the parameters are now clear to you. Okay. So then consider there is document 2. In document 2, similarly, we have a document number, posting date, document category, and currency with the reconciliation key, and it generates a number. Okay. Okay. Now, when the business partner link, it's linked through this invoice number or document number, which is linked here. Okay. And that document number get posted here. Okay, in general ledger items. So when you pass the business partner number at FPL9, it will show all these details. Okay, now what is happening here? The due date is everywhere, it is getting updated. So they need this due date, which is a key in nature, definitely. Okay, but they put that into a separate item, which will be helpful to take the operation faster or quicker. So they create a repetition group and repetition items to the link, and they link to this invoicing document or posting document. So what they do, they link these repetition groups that will reduce the load, and they posted everything under a single date. And this date mostly linked to the reconciliation. Okay. So how this structure payment document source and payment documents are linked? Source is same, business partners showing the document number. Okay, posting document, and that linked to the invoice document, and all other details are linked. So by that it's linked. I think we already did this many times. The posting document and the invoicing document get linked, and there will be items. Now items are, again, we call them clearing items. So those we need to configure how the clearing items need to be linked. Okay. Now, till now, whatever we discussed, those are very simple direct payments. But if somebody paid partially, partial payment is happening, then what we need to do? So in partial payment, what we do, we create a posting document, definitely. We create a posting document, but that posting document will only link another a particular amount. Let it be here, the amount is 130, but somebody paid 100. So the clearing amount is happened to be 100. So that creates another clearing document. So that means posting document linked to a clearing document, and that clearing document clears the amount. That means there is one more step. So under posting document, again, we have partial payment clearing document, and that clearing document clears some amount. Once he paid 30 rupees someday, okay, there will be another clearing document, and the posting document need to be closed with the item which is 001. Okay, so those details will be how those details will be controlled through upsetting of the item. Okay, now you can see upsetting of the item here. So we have a line item 1 and line item 2. Both the line items are there with different GL, because the partial payment we may use a different GL. Okay, and once we offsetting that, so that value, whatever we generated for the clearing one, like 1220554 that linked to the bank offsetting item. Now this amount 100 is go to the bank offsetting item, and it is get cleared. So this link to this. Okay, so this clearing and this document is cleared. Now whatever the remaining, that need to be paid. So we created another offsetting invoice kind of stuff. Okay, so that is again with the same number, but that is open. The item is still open because the total amount is not yet paid. When he pay the next amount, okay, there will be another document, clearing document, and it will clear the amount. Okay, but by that time, the posting document and the items will be open. Only one clearing item will be clear, and other items will be open based on the priority of the clearing. Okay, so let's consider we don't want to post, but we need to check. So that means a statistical document. Statistical document will not get posted practically. So in that case, you can see there are no document get generated for the posting. Only the invoice get generated, and that showing all the amounts. Okay. So mostly for the simulations, we do that. Now, the payment for statistical items. So if you want to do some simulations and do some clearing for the statistical items, that is also be possible, because most of these people, let it be particularly in the mobile segment, what they do, um, they uses the mobile for 20 days, and they try to understand how much amount they need to pay at the end of the month, right? But they don't want to pay, they just need the information. So in that case, the whole process will be created, and the simulation will happen, and the simulation will give a amount. That amount will be sent back as information to the customer. The customer means partner. Okay, and that person need to go to some other country, and or they have some other work. They want to pay prior to the payment date. So what he will do, based on your statistical amount, he will pay the amount. Okay, let's the existing customer is paying 200 rupees every month, and he's getting that post statistical amount would be 230. In that case, he want to pay that before the actual date. Okay, because without generating the invoicing, he need the invoice, right? So in that case, we do a statistical posting. Whatever the amount will get collected, right? That amount will be weighted for the offsetting. Okay, that means the customer is paid already the amount. Let it be 15 here. It is paid 15. Okay, the clearing amount is done 15, and there will be minus 15 amount would be there. So there will be two amounts. One is plus 15, which is we get, but as we have a double ledger entry system, we also created a one line item with minus 15. And once the actual invoice get generated, okay, and we check all the values, okay, now it is 15, then it will get cleared. Okay, so some of the company, what they do for this prior payment, they also create different registers or different GLs. Mostly they create a separate book altogether for the statistical posting and clearing offset. Okay. Any questions on this? I understand it's a very complicated stuff, statistical posting. Any questions on this? Now, there are other payment concept called advance payment. Advance payment is totally different from this kind of payment. Okay. It's one upon a time when the person wants to pay, or sometimes some people want to pay, but they are part of the periodic billing process, but they pay sometimes prior to the billing or invoicing date. No questions? Okay. So all this document now need to be displayed properly in the system. So the display part is where we'll get the clarity, how the payments are happening, what to be done in the document segment to show us the clear picture what is happening in the system. Okay, so that is called document